the origin of nicknames in the African American community.
Good evening, and welcome to Tete, a conversation with us. I'm Elder Charles Bird.
And I'm Tonda. This is our very first show.
Yes, you did. You took the words out of my mouth.
We're always doing that anyway.
Yes, indeed.
But listen, folks.
Yes.
Like I said, this is our very first show. We are super excited to bring to you a conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you can join in, but you had to do it very specially.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about some stuff that's really raw.
Yeah. And some things that you probably wanted to ask or having conversations with your significant others. We're going to talk about relationships.
And to give you just a little bit of what Tete is all about, we are going to be not only talking about relationships, but we are going to be talking about all things about life in general.
Okay.
We're going to pick your brains. We're going to have you to pick up some toilet paper or some tissue. You might shed a few tears.
You might.
We're going to be very candid and just a relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah.
And we want for you to enjoy the show that we're going to present to you.
So why don't you tell us about some of the things that we've been doing in the past?
Well, let me just give you a little background about myself, because this is naturally not my first time on any type of particular show.
Right.
But TNS Productions, first of all, is managed by Elder Charles Bird, which we always say is a very intelligent man. We like to pat him on the back, and hope that his head don't swell too big. But no, he is a great man, and he's a great manager. He gets all the gigs for us. We really appreciate Elder. But 2 years ago, we did The Prodigal Wife.
Yes.
Before that, we were in another production together that didn't go all the way through. So that's how we came to The Prodigal Wife. Stephanie is the one that's creating this show. Mm-hmm. She is the mastermind behind this show, so I don't want to forget to give her her kudos.
And she's doing a great job, too.
Absolutely. She always does a great job.
Absolutely.
This woman is a mastermind of what she does. Mm-hmm. You got to give people their props, right?
Plus, not only is she good, but she's a real treasure to work with.
Oh, yes. We're a great team. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Let me just stop here for a second, Elder, because, see, we can veer off on this show.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And so I'm going to veer off on this show just a little bit, because it is important to be able to work with people that you gel with and that you mix with, right?
Yes.
There's no conflicts. Everybody has their creativity that they can bring to the show.
And we have fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's important, to sit back and relax. You see what we got on today?
Yeah.
Jeans. You guys can't see jeans, but jeans, just a shirt and just a smile.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, yeah, but that's kind of what we've been doing. We're working on some other projects right now, too, so stay tuned. I believe spring, we're going to be coming out with something really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
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 And I can't wait to get started on it.
Yeah, I can't either. So that's going to be one of the projects. I am currently working on a book. I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish this book, but I am very well into the book.
Okay. In God's time.
In God's time.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. All I can say is that I've gotten farther this time than I've ever gotten before.
Okay.
Trying to start a book. So I'm pretty proud of myself. The book is going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. So that's my story, other than the way that I got into all of this was Stephanie contacted me to write for her ministry page, write inspirationally. Mm-hmm. I did that for about maybe 2 years. And then that's when we got into this production work. But before that, I used to write for Inclusion Magazine with Zola Gabora. Gabora has changed her name a couple of times, but I used to write for her magazine. I had an inspiration corner.
Okay.
And they also did a couple photo shoots, and they would put the picture with whatever I wrote about. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I got off into this thing, this acting thing. I did not even know that it was a...
It was a plus.
It's a plus, but it's turning into kind of a passion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, I really enjoyed that movie, and I didn't think I had it in me, but now I know. Mm-hmm. So, talk about you, Elder.
Oh, this is going to be very brief. So, a lot of you may have heard In the Word with Elder Bird. That was on like WDAO. No, that wasn't on DAO. That was on WCSU. WDAO was, I forgot the name of the show. What's Eating You? There you go. What's Eating You? And then Talktainment Radio was Worship with the Elder, and several other different radio shows down through the years. So hopefully you enjoy those shows, but some of the dynamics of some of those shows we're going to bring to Tete. Okay, because we found out that they work. We found out that people do want to discuss serious opportunities in their lives and try to figure out where their goals are. And I always come with this perspective. A lot of people have goals, but a goals without a plan is a wish list. You know, so when you're thinking about a lot of different goals, make sure you have a plan to achieve them. That's one thing I will probably say every show, because it's very important for that to take place. Enough about me. Let's get
into relationships.
Relationships.
I think you should just.
Well, you know, here's probably one of my problems, Tonda, and this is like the elephant in everyone's room. You know, a lot of times because of our history, and a lot of people are going to give me a little dings, but I'm not really. I really want to make sure that the truth is put on the floor effectively and adequately. Because of a large part of our historical background and the tradition that we have, as African American people, have not understood the perfect point of a relationship. You know, because we still think that the basic way to get someone to do something for you is through some form of control. And right. Mostly this is done through a physical conversation. And a lot of times women, and because of the chronicles of my counseling opportunities, I can always contrive that a lot of women want to make sure that their husbands or their significant others love them through this physical conversation. Right. Oh, he smacks me around every now and again, but he does it because he loves me. You know, he wants to show. There is nothing good about anybody that will smack you or hurt you or beat you, you know, and you got to understand that this has to be another way, because people graduate, everything grows. You know, if it's a smack here, there's going to be something else tomorrow. Right. If they're still in $1 or $2, it's going to be 20 or 2,000, you know, the next day. Everything grows. And so you want to make sure that there's certain things that are, I guess, cancerizing in your life that you want to bring to a stop before it be something that you can't get rid of.
That's right.
And you show love, but it's not a physical conversation. It's how you appeal to someone's heart. And, you know, the other thing about relationship, can I say it like I feel it?
Go ahead.
We make decisions with the wrong head as men.
That's right. I agree. I totally agree with that. And Elder, it is a breath of fresh air to have a gentleman on the set talking about relationships, because most of the time I believe us women are the ones that are with the complaints. You know, we're a hurt people, women.
Yeah.
We've been abused, we've been used, we've been lied to. A lot of us have gotten to the point to where we've given up on relationships because it's hard to trust people. So a lot of times when we talk about this kind of subject, and I know this for myself, when I've had subjects on this, it's even on my Facebook page. If I put something out there, then some man inevitably is going to get on there and say, well, women do it too.
Yeah.
You know, but it's something that women really have a problem with. So I appreciate having a man on here who will admit that you guys have some issues.
Well, let me go back and get something.
Don't
Two things.
backpedal on it now.
No. I wanted to go back and you were like saying that a lot of times women are hurt because they love deeply.
Absolutely. And
sometimes the significant other don't understand how deep that love is or what deep love is all about, period.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other thing I want to address is it's not always one way. I've seen a lot of men get verbally and physically abused.
Well, of course.
Particularly in public.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that public thing carries a significant addition to the feelings that they already have, or sometimes some of the feelings that they may have for a woman might get in the way as a direct result of being publicly abused.
Okay.
And man never wants to see himself lower than his woman. But there are some strong-minded women that exercise, and they have the right. You have the right to express yourself both positively and unfortunately negatively. That's your right.
You see my eyebrow?
But what about it?
You see that eyebrow going up?
Uh-oh, what happened?
Mm-hmm. When you said we got a right.
Yeah, you do have a right.
Y'all see that eyebrow?
Yeah, you have a right to express yourself positively and negatively. You also have a right to be respected with dignity.
That's right.
That's your right. You have a right to ask for what you want. Doesn't mean you're always going to get it, but it is indeed your right. That's your personal Bill of Rights. And, it has to be well said and well understood. Now, let me spread this properly, because sometimes it has been my experience that men don't like the idea that their significant other, their wife, their girlfriend, their heartbeat, their rib, their soulmate has those rights.
Right.
It's all wonderful until a critical situation comes up, and then you realize, I can't make her do this, I can't make her do that, because unfortunately, one of the things that goes on in relationships is people thrive off of control. I'm in charge. You have to do what I ask. Mm-hmm. You have to do what I tell you to do. Mm-hmm. You have to do a lot of different things. When women love hard, mm-hmm. they like to have that voice. They like to have that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
To see if there is a match to the puzzle of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree.
Uh-oh. Well, I give God the praise. I can't take credit. I pray about certain things and it comes to me, and and I can't take credit for it, but I give God the praise. But go ahead.
That's okay. You're talking good. I wanted to bring up one of the points off of you saying the control thing.
Yeah.
And what drives the control, and how sometimes men use control. And one
in an abusive manner, but go ahead.
Yeah, very much in an abusive manner, and especially if they get a weak woman, or if they get a woman who's at a vulnerable state in her life.
Low self-esteem.
Yeah, she could be on the rebound from another hurt. A man can easily manipulate by reeling you in, feeding you a bunch of, a dream.
Especially when there's economic strangulation. But go ahead.
Okay, that's another point. Yeah, reeling you in, promising you all this, these dreams and this great relationship, and then you give your body away, and then that's when they start to pull away. Whenever they get what they want to get, then it's on to the next. At that point, the woman is totally tied to this man. She's
emotional equity.
Yeah, she's involved now. She's got herself all into it, and he starts pulling away. He'll even ignore her, mm-hmm. And we all want what we can't have.
Absolutely.
So the more he ignores, the more we want. The more we want him. We want him to call. We want him to text. And that is one of those ways of control, the forms of control, so that he can pull her strings anytime he gets ready to call her.
Control.
Yeah. And it's the most
indignant,
demeaning, hurtful.
Particularly for a woman who loves deeply.
I think because we're made this way, women are made to love. We're nurturers. You know what I mean? That's just the way that God made us. So, and I told you that this particular conversation was going to be personal for me because I've been through that.
Yeah.
And it's just, if I could take a club.
Uh-oh.
All the time.
What you gonna do with that club, Tonda?
I'm telling you, I would do some physical things because some of these men out here need to be punched in the brain.
Oh.
They need a jolt or something because it's just. Woo. it can be a crazy ride for a woman. You know, you live and learn. I feel sorry for women who are stuck in these situations. Um, Thankfully, you know, just like you said about, you know, you give it to God or whatever,
Yeah.
you give God all the glory. Thanks be to God that I'm not in that situation anymore. You know, I was able to pull myself out of it just because I simply got tired. And then we all have different personalities too. Some women can't, they'll stay in something for years and it not go anywhere and be abused.
And be okay with being stuck, because in their mind or their ideology is, you know, I got to accept the mud with the rain. You know, I got to be in this and it's going to cost me something. But that's not necessarily true. You know, you don't have to suffer in order to have a good relationship. Right. You know, sometimes, listen to me very carefully, folks, you have to watch for what you want. Okay, because sometimes we want something so bad we don't take time to see if it is a good fit.
Ooh,
or if it is or if it's something that you could deal with. In my Bird Chronicles and in certain counseling situations, and I'm gonna pull this up universally without giving away or keeping the element of confidentiality as it relates to where I got this from. And there was a situation in which a man and a wife, they were, you know, married. He was Prince Charming. He was doing all the right things, you know, making her feel real good. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden there was a financial situation in which the $125,000 mortgage and the, you know, $35,000 car, and then there was the $50,000 car and all the other things that was going along with it. It was a problem. Money was funny, change was strange. And he came to her, wife, with child, about to be born, maybe 5 months. So therefore she was about 4 months pregnant. And asked her to do sexual favors so that they can recoup some of the money that they didn't have.
Wow.
Okay, with some friends and they both knew. So there was a party, and the party needed some entertainment, and he, you know, had heard that there was a desire for his wife to go along. So he asked her, I tell you, and she was forced to either make a decision or not make a decision. Without getting into what happened, let's just stop there, because the mere fact that someone will ask his wife to do sexual favors for some of his friends, how do you think the rest of their marriage was going to end? Or was there really a tenure or shelf life to the relationship in the first place?
Wow, I can't say anything else, but what? Are you serious?
Yes. And so, you know, because what I said to this couple was, when it was on the table, this is not going to be the only time. If you say yes, there's going to be additional times, there's going to be additional monies, because once you find out that this will work or she will do it, you know, then you're opening up the doors for some other factors to come in.
Pandora's box.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, a lot of times, Elder, we don't listen to the signs. There's red flags thrown everywhere, you know, in these situations. And a lot of times I call them situationships because that's how they start out.
Boom. I get you.
But yeah, there's all kinds of signs that are thrown at us. But when you want something, along with the fact that, you know, you have some men out there that's got the gift of gab, and they're full of swag and all that stuff. You know,
they can talk you out of your own clothes, sell you your own things.
Oh my goodness, just anything. They're just full of game.
And they go both ways. Women do it too, but go ahead.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
You're not going to be those people on Facebook though talking about women do it too. You're not going to do that, Elder. Yes, women do it too. But when we're talking about a man and a woman, and how a woman gets caught up, and how those red flags are there. You know, there's so many different things that a man does, and you know, when he's pulling away from you, that's a message. That's a sign. He's not in it. He's not in it to win it anyway. Not with you. This thing, you know, that they'll come up with. I'm too busy. You know, I'm trying to get my career going. I don't have enough time for you. You know, I really need you to understand. You know, I'm trying to build for us, or I'm trying to get my life together. You know, my money is funny. I don't care how much money a man doesn't have, and I do understand that a decent man will want to be able to take care of a woman to a certain extent that he's dating. You know, be able to take her out and spend money and things like that. I get that. But if a woman tells a man, I'm with you, I understand where you're trying to go. I believe in you. You know, she's very supportive. She's feeling a connection in this relationship. So she's willing
to be that soulmate.
Oh, yeah. You know, if she's telling you this, women, I'm speaking directly to you. If you told him this, you know, you feel like you've got this great connection. He's sold you this thing about, you know, I can't do this. And, you know, first he sold you this great life, and then he got what he wanted. If he starts pulling away, if he's got all those excuses, he doesn't want you. You're not the one. Yeah. You're not the one. You're just one of the ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to start paying attention to those signs. You know, I know it hurts. You want to keep it going, and you do everything you can to, you know, you make excuses to call him, to text him, things like that. Don't do it. Yeah. He's going to ignore. Every time he looks at that text message, if it's coming from you and if he doesn't want it to come from you, guess what he's going to be doing?
Yeah.
There she go again. What she want?
Yeah. And you would never think that that's the kind of sensation or mental thing that would come out of it. But like one of the ways to guard that is the Bible tells us to be anxious for nothing. And that means nothing.
True.
Okay. And the other thing is, I want to go back and get something is stop having a one-way conversation with the Lord. If you're going to pray, you know, make sure you're hearing what the Lord, intrinsically pray. You know, can I say it like I feel it? A lot of people treat the Lord as a sugar daddy. You know, get me what I can get. Let me have my fun, you know, and then, you know, and it's okay until things turn sideways. Mm-hmm. You know, when it goes from sugar to mess real quick.
Right.
Okay, right. You kind of think when your backward diary, just what you said, how he pulled away after a while, you know, when the juicy fruit goes away is what I always metaphorically say. Yeah. All the sugar is gone and you just chewing gum, you got the thing, you know, I got to go face. Guaranteed.
That's pretty deep. Yeah, I had to do some soul searching. I had to do a lot of soul searching because I was in a situation, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I was in a situation. It took me years to get out of it. You know, I was emotionally invested in this person. I was sold a pipe dream. But at the same time, I had to give him the benefit of the doubt too, because he was in we both were getting out of a marriage.
Okay.
At the same time. So we were both only 6 months out of our marriages.
Okay.
And so that's a rebound situation.
Yeah.
You know, when we were feeding off of each other's negative energies and our needy energies and things like that. And so it became a toxic situation. My only thing with him is that we did have a great chemistry. It was a great connection. I always felt respected with him, but it was when we were apart that I felt disrespected. I knew at some point that he wasn't ready for a relationship, and I thought I was, but really I wasn't. And here's the kicker. It took me years to find out. One day I actually woke up and I said, I don't even love this person. You know, I realized that I was in love with the thought of who I wanted and needed him to be for me. So, I mean, that was the hugest. As soon as I got that epiphany, it was like everything fell into place as far as my healing from it.
Okay.
Right? And it just, all that love just, to this day, I can't say that I don't love him because I do have love for him, but it's not that hurtful type of love. It's not that love where he can call me on the phone and be like, hey, I'm coming down. You know, I'll be down there, you know, where I'll stop and everything that I'm doing, you know, to make sure that I'm there for him. He can't do that any longer. So, yeah, you come to, if you really do some soul searching, you'll come to that point to where you're like, what is it in him that he can get to me like that, and that
what
I
button
allow
does
it?
He push?
Yeah, and that I allow it. What is it in me that's missing
Yeah.
You know.
Let me ask this question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Because I think that what you are saying, soul searching, and when I say your inner dialogue, I think we're talking about the same thing. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what did you notice in your soul searching or your inner dialogue that made you understand the definition of love in him?
Ask me that question again.
Okay.
You done went deep on me, y'all. You done went deep.
All right. So, in your inner dialogue and what you thought, visualize, or how you understood the definition of love, what did you cite in the relationship that was the definition of love in him, in his body, soul, mind, and spirit?
The way he treated me.
Okay.
When we were together, this was someone that, of course, opened doors.
Okay.
You know, I love that. You know, I like to be, what do you call it? Chivalry. I love the chivalry stuff.
Okay.
He opened doors. We could be sitting at a restaurant. He wouldn't sit across from me. He wanted to sit right next to me.
Okay.
He wanted skin to skin contact. He
Okay.
wanted, you know, neither one of us could keep our hands off each other, and not in a sexual way. It was a playful way.
Mm-hmm.
We had great conversation. He always, and this don't take this the wrong way, fellas. He always paid for the food, even when I wanted to take him out. He'd be like, "Nope, that's my responsibility. I'm paying for the food."
Okay.
Right? I love those things about him.
Okay.
He did everything that I wanted a man to do when we were together. So I define that as love.
Okay. So let me go a little deeper. Let me ratchet up a little bit.
And he said the words a couple times.
I love you.
One time he said, "This feels like love."
Will you marry me?
No.
Oh, okay.
Never
right.
proposed.
So
never proposed.
In critical decisional things, something critical. Let's say, I don't know. Let's go back to the money thing, or a job search, and there was an opportunity in which you wanted his heart to really kind of help you make a decision or console you while you were making your decision. A critical decisional process. Describe to us exactly how he may or may not responded or reacted in that type of situation.
I'm being interviewed.
No, I think for the public, because I'm going in purposely because I want everyone to understand that it's not so much the physical, the chivalry, and everything, because that's good, that's easy to do. But how long am I going to be around when a crisis hit? How long am I going to be around when maybe, I don't know, you had to change locations? I don't know, maybe you have a child or something, and how does he treat that child?
Okay.
When there are financial crises, how does that person help you? As I said before, even when you get ill, how are they going to be there?
Well, I will just say this. He's a very intelligent man. He's a businessman. He helped me in a lot of ways.
Okay.
There were times when I was going through, and I needed a service that he provided.
Okay.
It wasn't something that he could give to me freely all the time, but he did provide me a couple times so that I could get the service that I needed. And I'm not going to mention the service again.
I got you. You don't have to do that. Yeah, you don't have to do that.
Somebody out there on the spot like that, but he did come through.
Okay.
In a crisis, and I could go to him because, again, he was an intelligent person, and I could get information from him.
Okay.
He did show concern. Great listener, all of that. So yeah, I considered him as a friend as well, and I considered him as someone that I could go to in a crisis. Yeah. And I did believe that he'd be there because he had been before.
In choosing relationship, I always take a look at people who will solutionize crisis or have some type of crisis intervention as it relates to how they make that person feel. You know, am I going to be there grudgingly or am I going to be there happily? You know, I got that from reading the Bible, and you know the infamous scripture, you know, God loves a cheerful giver. You know, so but if you give grudgingly, you know, you kind of think about it. Is your heart really in it?
Right.
You know, so sometimes when people go out their way, you know, to use the definition of love, you know, that they wouldn't mind walking a mile in his shoes, or if they're trying to help you, they're helping you based on, I wish if I was in your shoes, how I would want someone to do for me.
Right.
You know, and so sometimes if they're willing to trade places with you for that moment to help and secure or bring a bridge over, you know, some type of problem.
Right.
And
right, yeah.
then you want to think about, this is the person I want to be.
Yeah, well, you know, and we got to get ready to wrap this up. But
Okay.
I was just thinking about one thing that he did do when I was in my stupid mode, because he drove down to here, because he doesn't live here, but he drove down.
Distant
love.
lovers.
Right. On ball tires in a blizzard. Yeah, in a blizzard.
In a blizzard?
In a blizzard.
Oh, that was love.
I don't know about that. I just think that was a physical thing.
He wanted something.
But you know, a woman would look at something like that, like, wow. You
Yeah.
know, this man drove down on straight ice, blizzard.
On ball tires?
On ball tires. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that there may have been a,
Okay.
you know, I'm sure there was a reason for it that wasn't love, you know.
Really?
But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think that was love, Elder.
Shift that gear.
Men will do whatever they gotta do to get to a woman. It does not matter. If they
I got to have it. I got to have it.
That's right. Point blank. But we do have to wrap this up. I do want to ask you one question though,
Sure.
because I think women would want this question answered.
Go ahead.
Elder, what is it when a man has the total package at home? The total package. What is it that will make him step out on her and cheat on her?
Well, there's several different reasons. And the first thing that is probably more often is when you find out that that significant other is letting outside experiences or outside relationships come in the middle of what the marriage is feeling. You know, I always make it a point to make sure I tell all my clients and everyone that would listen, a relationship is a personal thing, not a community event. Okay. And unfortunately, people will bring their sisters or other tight people that they grew up with into a situation where they shouldn't.
Okay.
They allow them to not only come in, but they allow them to rest and psychologically put their feet up and sit and hang out like wet clothes on the line. And
so are you saying that they're, I'm sorry to interrupt you, because I want to make sure I understand where you're coming from. So are you saying that sometimes in a marriage, the wife may allow other people inside of the marriage that shouldn't be in there?
Shouldn't be in there that often and that much, because, you know, it's kind of like idolatry with the Lord. You know, if you subconsciously or accidentally put things before the Lord, if you consciously are putting things before your significant other or your spouse, they may not be spoke about every day. It may not be communicated effectively, but it does get in the way of what you feel.
So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed our very first show.
I think we touched some things.
Yeah.
I hope we touched some things in your life. Yeah. I hope we helped you.
And we will revisit relationships because it's just not enough time.
Yeah, we just scratched the surface. Just
really, really scratched the surface.
Yeah.
I can write a book. I am writing a book.
But
anyway, we will see you all soon. Actually, next week.
Okay.
We're going to be putting this show out here every week.
Okay.
So we won't give away what our topic is next week, but we will be putting it out there. Most of you have liked the page. Make sure you go out and like our Facebook page if you haven't. Also go out to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that little bell too, so that every time we post.
Until next time, may God bless you and keep you, and always look out for it. Tete.
Good night.